Good morning, good afternoon. Shane McCusker here, Intelligence Software. Welcome to another webinar. Today we're going to be talking about how to find candidates' contact details, particularly whenever you find profiles on the internet of people, but you don't have a telephone number, you don't have an email address. What do you do next? Before I do that, just a little bit who I am. My name is Shane McCusker. I run a company called Intelligence Software, and we develop software systems for recruitment agencies predominantly. It's about applicant tracking systems, CRM systems, but really it's about trying to find ways that recruiters can work smarter and make more placements, ideally with less effort. And if you make more placements, you make more money. So that's the bottom line, I suppose. That's the end of the advertisement. If you're interested in any of our software systems, check out the website, intel-sw.com, or just give me a call. More than happy to talk to people, even if you don't want to buy it. I'm more than happy to talk to you about it and show you what we do and maybe entice you with our wares now or at some future date, or if you know anybody else, please recommend us. The other things I'm involved in, fairly heavily involved in social recruiting techniques, and I do a lot of social media marketing, like this, for example. So I run the South African Recruiters Group on LinkedIn. I'm also involved in quite a number of other LinkedIn groups. Today I'm going to be referencing Martin Lee and his wonderful group, Cool Free Recruiting Tools, on LinkedIn. I also do some stuff for the Irish Recruiters Group that I'll mention later on the webinar. I run a blog page which really is a repository for web content that I produce, so the webinars go up there. If you want to see that, see recordings of today's webinar or the other webinars we've done, check out intel-sw.com/blog or go to our blog page. I've actually got 2 blogs running, so I'm going to phase one out and phase one in, so come back and check it out often. I'm involved with the famous Bill Borman. I ran True SA last year. Last week I was at True London. Some exciting stuff came out of that. I'll mention some of that as I go. If you want to follow me on Twitter, Twitter handle is intelligence, spelled with a 1, and feel free to tweet and share and follow and all the rest of it. Okay, enough about me. Let's move on to. I'm going to talk about making contact and all the different ways in which you can communicate with your market. First of all, I'm going to talk about LinkedIn, really. The part of the problem and part of the cure. LinkedIn is a fantastic resource for recruiters. It really is. There's all sorts of information on there, hundreds of millions of profiles of people, and it's just absolutely fantastic for doing things with. But I have a couple of theories about LinkedIn. LinkedIn doesn't like recruiters. It just seems to want to limit your ability to communicate with people. It teases you with little tidbits of information, but won't let you get through to the people you want. So we're going to be looking at that today. I'm going to be looking at getting names of people when LinkedIn does. We're going to be looking at sending messages, looking at connecting with people. Okay, so let's jump in here and see how we get on. Oh, which one of these is the one I want? It's not that one. So hopefully, sorry, I'm struggling to see what you're seeing, but okay, there we go. So I'm looking at LinkedIn now. I just logged on to LinkedIn and I've done a search for an engineer, and lo and behold, I get a myriad of results. You will notice that in this section here that I see first, second, third degree connections. Let's have a look at the first degree connections first of all, and let's just see what LinkedIn actually has on these people and what you can get out of them. If I select one of these people, I accept there's a little bit of a delay here when you see my screen. So I'll try and slow down a little bit, but I'm looking at this particular gentleman's LinkedIn profile. He's a first degree connection. And what have we got? First of all, on the right-hand side here, we've got, I can send him a message directly. I've got his name there. I've got all his profile information. And best of all, I've got this email and telephone section on the right-hand side where it actually gives me his full email address. So when he's a first degree connection, information from him. I'm going to move on. I'm now going to have a look at what happens whenever you look at second degree connections. So this just takes a second or two for LinkedIn to refresh. Apologies for this. Whenever I click on a secondary connection, I'm just going to randomly, first one on the list here, Christopher comes up. So let's move into this. Hopefully your screen will refresh in a second or two. So I'm now looking at Christopher's profile. What happens? Well, one, I don't have a send message anymore. I've got now a send in mail. LinkedIn will charge me to send an email, so that's how they make money. I've also got a button to connect to him because he's not first degree connection, so I can connect to him, but be careful about that. I'll talk about that in a second. And more importantly, I don't have anything on the right-hand side here to tell me his email address or his contact details. And in fact, even though this person's got a very complete profile, there's no information on his page here that allows me to connect directly with them. Okay, so it's not quite as good a first degree connection. Let's have a look at third degree connection. We come to here. Just moving back here. Whenever I go and have a look at a search result for a third degree connection, LinkedIn is even more limiting in what I can see. And I'm not even getting the name of the individual. Here I'm getting Bill G. I don't know who Bill is. I don't even have his name. I can go in and I can see his profile, but it's very limiting. I don't even have a connect button anymore. I've now got a send in mail button, and I have no way of messaging him. I've got no email addresses, don't even know his name. Okay, quick way to find his name. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Yes, it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut and paste a section of his profile. I'm going to go into Google, type into Google, run a search, and lo and behold, I now know Bill G is called Bill Garrett. So I click on that. This brings me to LinkedIn's full profile or his public profile for Bill. So at least I've now got his name, but I'm not any closer to seeing who he is. I click on View Full Profile, brings me into his full profile for Bill. And I get a bit more information here. He's a third degree connection. I've now got him, but I can still send him an email, but at least I can connect to him now, which is a slight improvement. Sorry, my email is firing up at the bottom here. I'm just going to close Outlook and hopefully I don't bother us anymore. So, what else can we do here? So that's a way of getting somebody's name, but what if I want to message them? Well, first of all, if you look at different aspects of LinkedIn, if I go to a group, for example, even though whenever I went onto their profile for a second and third degree connection, I couldn't message them. If I'm on a group, like for example, this person, it's a second degree connection, but I can send them a message from here. And in actual fact, if I go and look, I think I had our third degree connection earlier on from another group. Oh, no, first degree connection. If you find somebody who's a second degree connection, then it almost certainly gives you, I'm sorry, Jim and Martin are both first degree connections. Apologies if I had that lined up with another group. If I go into a different group that I'm less active in, I'll find third degree connections. And when you hover over the name, you generally get options to connect to them or to send them messages. But LinkedIn will allow you to send messages to first, second, third degree connections and anybody that you're in the same group with. But how do you do that if you're on their profile and you can't find out who they are? Well, let's try it. If I go back to Bill here, Bill is a third degree connection. Look at the URL at the top. Hold on a second there. I just want to make sure that you can all see what I'm doing here. If I look at the URL at the top, this is the bit that says www.linkedin.com. I'll notice there's a bit of, well, what's gobbledygook to most people. This bit at the top gives me an ID, and it's his ID number. I'm just going to press Control-C on my computer and copy that. Then I'm going to go over to my Connections tab. I'm going to my network. Whenever I go to Connections, it allows me an option. Sorry, LinkedIn's been really slow today. Apologies for this. Come on, LinkedIn, do your thing. There we go. Got there in the end. If I click on somebody there, I can send them a message. So I'm going to send Sandra a message here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to URL at the top of this page. And you'll see it says www.linkedin.com and all this stuff. And you'll see there's an ID in there as well. I'm going to delete the bit after it says con ID equals. I'm going to pull in the number for our friend. When I click on that, lo and behold, up comes a message to Bill. So LinkedIn allows me to message Bill in this way. First, second, third degree connections, I can message them in this way. And this is really useful. You can actually comment eliminate multiple numbers in there. And you can message anybody. And what you can actually do is, and this is one thing, I run the Belfast Recruiters Group, or the Irish Recruiters Group in Belfast, do some meetups. So what I do is that, oh, where's my bookmark? I'm using Chrome here. I've got a collection of bookmarks, and all I do is just save the link. I want to eliminate all those IDs if these are people I'm connected to, and I can create a message automatically to all the people in my network that are there. I just don't allow them to see it, and I send messages to them. So I can say, well, I've got 4 of those set up, so I can message about 200 people through a powerful way to message people through LinkedIn. Okay, what else is there? A few other points just on LinkedIn with regard to connecting to people. Obviously, if you're on somebody's profile and you can get this button, okay, this builds a third degree connection to his profile. I don't have a connection. I can connect to him. Be quite careful about that. LinkedIn, whenever you start using it, LinkedIn wants to persuade you not to connect to people. It actually says on the network, don't connect to people you don't know. But if you connect to people that you're not connected, that you don't really know, if they register the fact that they don't know who you are, and this happens multiple times, LinkedIn will block you from inviting people unless you know their full email address. And the first time it happens, LinkedIn says, you're not behaving yourself, you've got to sign up to our terms and conditions. You click on accept the terms and conditions, and then you invite people. But if it happens again after that, there's no way back. LinkedIn will just say you can't connect to anybody unless you know their email address. So be quite careful about connecting to people. As you can see, it is very important to have a big network in the areas that you recruit in so that you can get more and more information through LinkedIn and get more channels to communicate and connect with people. Okay, so that's about LinkedIn. So I've talked about connecting. Okay, this little section I'm going to talk about email, finding email addresses, and how you talk about Google. Google is your eyes and ears and windows to the world. Also Bing, but I'm going to talk about Google because everybody knows and loves Google. Email addresses you can use searches for, and you can just do, if you follow, 4 weeks ago we did a Boolean search, and this is about creating Boolean strings. And I've got my Boolean bar at the top. This is a guy called Ryan Leary produces this. It's free for Firefox extension. Follow Ryan or type in recruiting bar or Boolean bar as it used to be called, and you should be able to find this. And this allows you to come with, it gives you lots of different searches. So if I click on searches, go on email searches, it gives me searches. And here's one I've prepared earlier. I was interested in finding email addresses of people who work for the recruitment company Communicate. And all I do is type in the search mail to =* Communicate, or, and really these are Google operators. The star means a few words, 1 to 5 words, and Google will go looking and it finds things. Look at this, Laura Hutchinson. It finds Charles. I've got other email addresses. I can see the formatted email address, which is quite good. Now, what do I do next? I've also got another little item here, which I find quite useful, called Auto Pager. I got these from Martin Lee from Cool Free Recruiting Tools. Martin's full of wonderful ideas. Follow his blog. Auto Pager allows, it basically just steps through Google, so it tells me how many pages I've got. Once I've got all these results, if I click Control A to select all, and then Control C to copy everything, I can then move to another site called, I'll just read this out to you, I'll wait till it appears on your screen. It's eel.surf7.net.my. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paste all that stuff into this box on the left-hand side, the input window. Click on Extract, and it will extract all my email addresses. Comment eliminated, you can see it a bit better. So it just takes all the raw data and says, right, where in here is email addresses, and it's a really good way to build up sort of substantial collection of email addresses if you're interested in that. There's another wonderful tool that I use at the time which pulls this out as well, which I'm just going to show you. I could do a whole webinar on this. It's called Outwit Hub, and it's basically for scraping information off. So again, if you Google search Outwit, you find this, and it basically just gets into the web that you're in. Okay, now this is all wonderful if you do a search to find email addresses that are mentioned on websites. But that's maybe not what I want to do. What I actually want to do is find people that I'm interested in and get their email address. So how do we do that? Well, I can see from this that most people in Communicate seem to have a standard format. It's initial letter, surname, and then @communicate.coza. And I thought to myself, how am I going to expand the reach of the South African Recruiters Group? How am I going to invite more people to join the group? I'll use this opportunity to flag up South African Recruiters Group, really good group for South African recruiters. If you are one or know anybody, please join the group or please invite other people to join. So what did I do? Well, I started off with, this is the only bit of software that I'm going to show you that you have to pay for. Apologies for this, but it is one that I know and love because I wrote it and developed it. And I've got a particularly cool tool here, which basically is our LinkedIn scraper that allows you to do a number of things. I'm going to clear that for you for demonstration purposes. What I did was I just typed in Communicate Personnel, South Africa, pressed button number 1, and it runs a search on Google of anybody who works for Communicate Personnel. They're all linked. If I click on Michelle here, Michelle's profile should open up eventually. You'll have to take my word for it. Her profile, oh, there we go. Starting to kick in now. So Michelle works for, or has worked for, Communicate Personnel, and I think I know Michelle. She doesn't work there anymore. Yes, she works for Brandon Recruitment, direct company up in Gauteng. So that's the process. However, this is where it gets exciting. Button number 2 says Get Public Profiles. Press button number 2 and it pulls in. Oh, did I just close that down? Oops, pardon me, let me try that again. Step number 1 opens up a browser and gets me all my profiles. There we go. It's happening. Bear with me. Google's slow today. Step number 2 imports all the names of those people. There we are. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to select them all and I copy them and I just paste them into Excel. Here's one I prepared earlier. So I've taken all my names that I've scraped from Google. I've separated out, this is just a formula I put in, just left, find, whatever it is. I'll leave that on. You can have a look at that to your heart's content on the recording if you don't know how to write formulas for Excel. I've got another formula in there which gets me the first name, and the second formula gets me the surname, and then my third formula puts it all together and adds in communicate.coza. So it now gives me a list of what I'm guessing are these people's communicate email addresses. Now what do I do? Next, another cool tool for you. Have a look at this. So give it a second for it to appear there. This is a website called verifyemailadress.org. And it's very simple. You guess an email address, you put it in, you click on verify email address. Let's see if it'll do it again for me. I tried this earlier on, sometimes it's a little bit intermittent. And what it does is checks the syntax, connects in, texts the server, and as we can see, it worked earlier on that saying that it's not a valid email address. Okay, I think if you run it twice for some strange reason, it doesn't seem to want to work. But it does work. It does work. And it is a way of validating email addresses to say, do you think this is a valid email address or not? So it checks the email address before you send it. What I then did, I'm not proud of this. This is seriously spammy. Apologies for this, but it was in the interest of trying to demonstrate how the thing works. And then what I did is take my email addresses that I had validated, and I just invited them to join the South African Recruiters Group. So we've got a whole pile of people that were, well, maybe 50 or 60 that I sent invitations to. And then what LinkedIn tells me is which of these line up with LinkedIn profiles. So I'm extremely sure that I was able to get Yolanda here, works for Communicate. She's got a LinkedIn profile. She was invited to join the South African Recruiters Group. So far, she hasn't accepted the invitation, but it's a reach. Communicate, reach out to people. It's safe and secure through LinkedIn in the sense that it doesn't bar me from, I'm not trying to connect with her, but it's just a friendly way of inviting people. So if you want to go down that route, it's quite an interesting way of doing things. Okay, I hope you can all hear me. I'm getting some comments coming through saying that it sounds a little bit intermittent. I will do my best to speak slowly and loudly, and hopefully you can hear me. If there's any more problems coming through, let me know. Okay, what else have we got? Let me just go back here. So that's Google. Right, what I mentioned on passing, taking an educated guess, and verifying email addresses. Now what? Okay, and everything else. Now the and bit is really, I have got a massive quantity of stuff here to go through. So I'm doing my very best to limit it down to just a few things that I think are going to be of most interest. First, Skype. I love Skype. I think Skype is an absolutely fantastic tool. I use it all day, every day. Now, you will hear anybody who follows social press, everybody knows people talk about Facebook being this absolutely humongous size of social network, the third biggest country in the world by population, blah, 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 blah. Well, let me into a secret. Skype is nearly as big as Facebook. Skype has over 500 million profiles. Lots and lots and lots of people are on Skype. And if you're interested in connecting to people, then chances are Skype is a wonderful way of doing it. You can search for people. Let's open up Skype here. Okay, here's my Skype. If I want to find somebody, click on Add a Contact. Who were we looking at earlier on? I think it was, can you see this okay? Skype's taking a bit of time to hold on. If I wanted to find Michelle Roberts, who we found earlier on, it tells me I have 200 views. That seems to be the maximum number of people that Skype will return on the search. I click on View, and eventually it'll come up, and it gives me the names. It gives me, I don't know if this is the Michelle Roberts you're interested in, but certainly somebody in Cape Town. It's the name. And if a Skype comes up, it tells me a little bit about the profile. If I click on it, I can send Michelle a message. Just type it in. It'll appear on her Skype. It says, are you the Michelle Roberts who works for Communicate.coza? If she is, she might respond to me. If she's not, I can still message her. Skype doesn't prevent you messaging people who don't accept you as a contact request. So you can still call people and you can still message them. It's a wonderfully powerful way to communicate with people. Skype is very often used personally rather than commercially, so chances are when you talk to people, it's through a personal connection rather than through a business connection. So if you don't like ringing people up at work, try Skype. It's a wonderful way to connect with people. What else have we got? Google Plus. I love Google Plus. I love Google Plus for a couple of reasons. One, it's new. That means that all the profiles on it are relatively new, and if somebody says that they work somewhere, chances are they do. The other thing I love about Google Plus is that it's an open network. It's not like Facebook. It's not like LinkedIn. It's really good at allowing you to access information. Let me show you what I mean. If I go to Google, this is my Google Plus page. Oh, no, it's not. This is my Google Plus page. I'll give you a second here. There we go. It's coming up now. So what it does, it tells you who I am, and it gives you all my contact details, all my telephone numbers, my email addresses. It even allows me to send a message. Oops, didn't mean to do that. There we go. Even allows me to send a message on the right-hand side. And the beauty of Google Plus is you can search Google Plus. You can search it straight from here, or you can do an X-ray search. An X-ray search, for those people who missed it, is basically doing a search where you use this site : operator. You should be able to see that on my screen now. Site : and then plus.google.com. When I did that, then I put in occupation ** recruitment consultant. Again, stars are simply a way of telling Google they want a few words between occupation and recruitment consultant. Try 1 star, try 2 stars, see what happens for you. And then I also put in Johannesburg. Once I click on this, it takes me to a profile of somebody who is hopefully a recruitment consultant and hopefully in Johannesburg. Give it a second. Internet's running really slow today. Here we go. If I click on About, then it brings me over to his profile page, and I can see he's a media recruitment consultant working for Maverick Talent, Johannesburg, London. I've got his Facebook, his LinkedIn, his Twitter handle, and I can send him a message directly. Google Plus is a fantastic way of reaching out and connecting with people. Okay, what else have we got? Lots more. I'm just going to go through these quite quickly. We've got People. I love People. People is it's one of these aggregating sites, and it's a way that you can try and find out what's going on in the world. I was doing a search earlier on, just for argument's sake. Oh, my mouse has now stopped. One of my customers, Mike, he's in Cape Town. If I run my search on this, what comes up? Thinking about it. Basically, People is one of these aggregators that goes out and searches the internet and pulls everything together relating to one person. And so that if you just type in somebody's name, it's a really good way to check people out. If you're thinking about candidates and interested in vetting them, are they suitable for a particular job, then People's a really good way of doing that. It's a bit slow to load, but you can see it's coming up now. I've got Mike. I can see qualifications. I can see him linked on Plaxo. He's on LinkedIn. Does jiu-jitsu. I've got photographs. I've got a Facebook. I've got a happy smiling picture of Mike. I've got lots of information about him, and it's a really good way to go and investigate and try and find people. Next, Zoom Info. Okay, Zoom Info is, I haven't really tried this to some extent, but I was recommended it as a good way to try and find people. You basically connect in and allow Zoom Info to see your connections, and then Zoom Info allows you to see their connections, all 50 million of them. And it's quite interesting. But one of the nice things about Zoom Info is, again, you can do an X-ray search with it. You can use this site : Zoom Info. All I've done is Zoom Info and then put a name in John, and lo and behold, I'm getting profiles of people that are called John on Zoom Info. Let's find one of these people, see what we've got. I think I need to be registered for this, but it will give you contact details. Again, it's taking a while. My internet just seems to be running really slow today. I hope it's not causing too many problems with the other quality of the broadcast. So we've got his name. I explore through this. Once I register in Zoom Info, I can get more and more contact details. Here's another one. Plaxo. Okay, Plaxo it's really designed to enable me to have all my contact details in one place. So it links in all my social profiles, my Outlook, all these different places into one thing that I can share. But again, with Plaxo is searchable through X-ray search. Here we try site : plaxo.com. And then I typed in RICS, which is the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors. And what do you know? I'm finding people who are members of the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors. Whether I get contact details here or not, it's a little bit hit and miss. I was experimenting with this a while and I wasn't getting too much information out of it, but it's a good way to go looking. It's a good way to start to try and find people. Here we've got a director, Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors in Europe. There's a couple of others. I haven't really experimented much with these. I've got Spoke. I've got a range of other internet sites there that you can go and explore and experiment with and see what you come up with. Again, if you go and have a look at Ryan's bar, we've got People Search. Look at all the ones that he's supporting. Spoke, ZoomInfo, Plaxo, High Five. High Five I don't think is, they're updating that site at this moment in time. People, and then other ways of searching and finding people. And of course, what else? Just type their name in and see what comes up. If I'm onto Google, type in Shane McCusker. Run that search, hopefully you have Shane McCusker. There you go. What else you got on Shane McCusker? Up. Lots of interesting stuff happening. I really like this. This is a really cool way of searching for people. You'll notice that Google quite likes, and you'll notice that if you've got an image of somebody, they'll tend to use avatars and it appears in all the different profiles. And this is quite cool. Did you know you can search on images if you have one? You can find an image and save it, and then do. Sorry, it takes a second to come up. You'll notice that the images toolbar search bar looks quite similar to the normal bar, except there's an extra button there which is search by image. If I click on search by image, upload a photograph, browse from a photograph. Click on my photographs. I happen to have one I prepared earlier. Sorry, taking this time here. Where am I? There I am there. Click on Shane McCusker small image. Click on open. Google will do a search for anywhere on the internet it finds that photograph. Oops. Come on, do your thing. There we go. Uploading the photograph. It does search. What does it find? Aha! Finds articles on recruiting blogs, which have my photograph on it. Google Plus, which has my photo. More of it. I'll say, well, where else in the world of the internet is that being used? Then you can go and search for photographs and see what goes on. Okay, that's probably about me for today. And you want to follow me on at Intelligence, intel-sw.com. Have a look at my blog, intel-sw.com/blog or blog.php, and I'll be there. If you've got any questions come up, please let me know. Really look forward to it. We've got more webinars running in a couple of weeks' time. If there's anything particular people want me to cover, let me know and I'll do that. Hopefully today was useful. Hopefully you got some stuff out of it. Please give me some feedback, and I look forward to hearing from everybody soon.